Hey everyone, Kat Code here to talk about data privacy. Today I want to talk about the 7 user rights that are associated with GDPR for the European Union. If you are not familiar with GDPR, there is a link in the comments for you to follow and a link in the description. If you are familiar with GDPR, then the user rights are going to affect both you as a user as well as you as a company. So I'd like to review all 7 of them so we have a good idea of what they are. So the first one is the right to access. So a user has the right to access the information that you have on them. And that means they can request to see all of the data that you have collected, including, of course, all the personally identifiable information, or PII. The second right is the right to rectification, and that is a user's right to correct any data or amend any data that might be wrong. It is not the user's right to rectify data they don't like. So if somebody has moved and wants to correct their address, they can. If they want to correct their birth date because they'd like to be 10 years younger, unfortunately, that is not something the GDPR covers. The next one is the right to be forgotten. And this is the one that's most contentious because, again, people think it's the right for them to be deleted off the internet. Unfortunately, there is no way to do that. But the right to be forgotten does mean that a user can delete their information or ask to have their information deleted if it is no longer needed and there is no reason for a company to have it. So if a user comes to you from the EU as a company and asks for their information to delete it, and you no longer require that information to run your business, then you are required to delete their data. From a privacy perspective, there are ways for you to anonymize that data. So if you need to keep it for demographic purposes or statistics, there are ways to strip that personally identifiable information out of there and continue to use the data as long as it follows the regulations. The next one is the right to have restriction of processing. So this is where you say, I have given the company the data for this purpose and this purpose only, and I am not allowing you to use it for anything else. So companies have to be clear about the legal basis or purpose for which they are processing all the information. The next one is the right of notification. So if you change the purpose by which you are using a user's data, you have to inform the user, and the user has the right to expect that notification. The next one is the right to portability. If I want to switch services as a user, or I just want to have access to the data, that data has to be provided to me in a way that I can see it. You can't give me a SQL database if I am a user and have no way of opening a SQL database table. So what you need to do is make it typically in a CSV format or some kind of Excel spreadsheet so that everyone can look at that data. And finally is the right to objection. So a user has the right to object to having their data used. Now I appreciate there are a lot of services that are required for an employee. So for instance, if you had to have a key card on a door of a business and you said, I don't want to have my data processed in order to be used for that, the company has the right to say, you are required to do this or you cannot be a member of the company. So that is a legal basis for which you to have the information. However, if there isn't a reason to have it and the user does not want to have their information used, they do have the right to object to that data. So those are the 7 user rights according to GDPR. Again, if you have any questions at all about GDPR, the user rights, or any other global compliance, please post them in the comments and I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks so much.